Greetings and salutations to our fine podcast audience. Welcome to episode 236, 3 peas in a pod. We didn't make it.
2 peas in a pod.
I was doing the pregnant pause.
I know, for Nathan.
To let them know that we're not 3 peas in the podcast today. We are only 2. Me and Ed together make 2, not 3.
That's right. And Nathan had to be at a meeting, and he sent us an email, said, don't wait on me.
I know.
So
I wanted to. Really, really wanted to.
I don't think that's how that went. But okay. All right.
Don't tell the truth.
I did not want to wait. I demanded that we go forward.
Mm-hmm. So here we are, moving forward without Nathan. So
he may be here though in the next episode. We're hoping.
Yes. So probably half as many Dallas Willard quotes, no reference to the patient ferment of the early church.
No.
Or any of that stuff. So for those of you who love that, sorry, you will miss out on that. For those of you watching, you probably noticed the set just looks all jacked up.
Well, since we didn't have to put 3 chairs here, Charlie graciously offered me, if people who don't know, I hate the chair they make me sit in.
Ed doesn't like the big cushy chairs like I do.
It doesn't help my back.
Ed prefers the plastic lawn chair.
I like a good solid chair.
That doesn't look good nor solid.
It's solid, man. That is hard plastic. That other chair y'all sit. If people on there could know, the other stuff came from like a garage sale somewhere, and it is barely holding together. It has stuffing in it from before I was born.
True. Probably smells.
Yeah.
But your chair, just to me, it reeks of plastic lawn furniture.
I feel supported.
Okay.
And then
That's all that
Jason,
matters.
I offered Jason, I said, hey, we can both. There's another chair right there that's a different color. If he didn't like pink, he could have it, but he didn't want that one either.
It's not about the color for me, man. I'm secure in my masculinity. I'm not opposed to pink. I like the big
cushy chair.
cushion. I need my cushion.
All right.
So I got
We have different back issues. Is the deal.
We do. That's the problem.
Yeah. We both have issues, but they're just different.
Yes. So we're taking care of ourselves.
Hey, for those of y'all who don't know this, soon Jason will pass into being, I'm 50
years old. It's coming. I got a few months to go, so don't get me there too soon.
All right.
Just give me some time.
Y'all should just start wishing him happy birthday every time you can.
Yeah. Well, if it comes with gifts.
Yeah, true.
Maybe. Now, today.
My birthday is before you. I'm sorry going into that.
That's okay.
Oh, I'm excited. I will say before he even says this, I am super excited about the person who asked this question today.
I knew you would be.
It just is a part of my nature. I love connecting with people, and I'm really excited.
Okay. So, today's question is not anonymous.
No.
It's a real live person.
That I know.
That we know.
Yeah.
We all have, it's very near and dear to our hearts. And we haven't seen in a long time.
No, it's been a while.
So,
I saw him on Facebook, though.
Okay, well.
That's not the same. Not the same. I couldn't say anything to him.
That's right.
But I go ahead.
So, today's question comes to us from Joel Gillespie.
Former first producer of the podcast.
He used to sit right behind that camera right over there.
But in a different place.
Yes. But he tells me on the question that he still listens to our podcast from time, or here and there. That's what he said. Here and there I listen to it.
I could not expect more.
Oh, gosh. No. Here and there is just like a super fan.
That is. That's like, here and there is more than enough. Thank you, Joel. I assumed you were done with us.
Yes. So hopefully he will see his question and watch or listen to this.
Maybe we should reach out to him and say, hey.
We should put Joel's picture on the thumbnail on YouTube. Joel episode.
Neither you or I have any control over that. I'm confident that won't.
Well, Charlie is here with us.
Yeah.
He will be done.
Oh, it's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
So people probably already know that if they're watching here. So, okay, it's going to happen. I'm ready for Joel's question. Are you ready for Joel's question?
I am. I just wanted, Joel, I'm so happy what I saw on Facebook, you and your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
It just made me happy.
Oh, well, good.
It made me happy.
I want you to be happy, Ed, and so does Joel. So
I don't know whether Joel cares or not, but
he doesn't. You make yourself happy, Joel.
That's right.
You just go for it.
You don't need to worry about this old guy.
No, not at all. All right, here's Joel's question. Joel says, I am still relatively new to working in ministry. What are some lessons you have learned that have been helpful in your ministry? And what are you currently learning or working through in your walk with Jesus and in your ministry? So,
that's a really good question.
That's a great question, and there's a lot of things I could say. So I gotta narrow this down.
I'm going to start with one. How about we go back and forth? I'll say one, and then you have a chance.
Okay.
I have two. I'm going to start with the one that I have used a lot of times. Mm-hmm. The way I say it is, you have to learn to eat crow that you didn't cook.
Yes, sir.
You have to be completely okay in ministry to take responsibility for things that you really didn't have much to do with.
Yes.
But you want to support the church, you want to support the team, particularly when you're on a ministry team. There's going to be a lot of things that happen. You just can't go throwing people under the bus.
That took me a long time to get settled in my heart.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but it did.
It's hard. It's really hard. And it's not just about supporting them. It is really buying into the fact that we win and lose as a team. I mean, it's one of the things I love about the New Testament reading, that everything they're doing in teams. Paul's so thankful for the people that are with them. He cares so much about the people that may have left,
Yep.
And we do things as a team. And if I'm the leader of the team, whether I'm, I don't even know what position you're in right now, Joel, but I was a senior pastor. You eat crow for everybody that's on your team. And support them. And that goes for wherever you are in the thing, even as volunteers, I think. I think it is the nature of us. We're a family, but in ministry, for sure.
Yeah.
You just have to say, hey, I'm sorry. We didn't intend what you got out of that, and we are trying our best to do better. But you have to eat a lot of crow you didn't cook.
I can remember a few specific incidences when I was first starting out nearly 30 years ago. And I want to say this, the reason we tend to not do this is we allow it to become emotional. And that was the way it was for me. So, for example, I don't even remember what the issue was, but I was a youth minister at the time. And so a parent typically would approach me with a complaint or something they were confused about, or maybe a decision got made, or something did or didn't happen with their kid. And so they were genuinely concerned about it, or they were upset by it, or whatever. And they would approach me. And I would just say my first instinct back in those days was to always take it personal and believe that this person was attacking me. And then that brought up in me a defensive kind of spirit where I was trying to defend my decision or defend whatever it was that they were talking about. Well, here's what, if you just, and I had this idea that if they just understood what I understand, they would just this makes total sense.
Right.
But that's logic.
That's right.
And it's not logical. It's emotional for them too. And so usually when someone approaches you with a complaint or an issue or something that they're confused about, I now would advise young guys like you in ministry to lean into that a little bit, not on your own side. Fight the urge to be defensive. Right. This is not personal. This is emotional for them. And so lean into what it is that they are bringing to you. For example, I would start with something to go, man, I can tell this is really important for you, or I can see that this really upset you. Tell me more about that.
That's right.
And lean in a little bit to that. And then, as Ed said, he's already touched on this, you want to speak into that emotion. And certainly if it was an unintended offense that you caused or somebody on your team caused, you want to lean into that too and go, wow, I recognize that this may have hurt you or confused you or something of that nature. And I just want you to know that's not what we intend. We don't want you to feel that way. We apologize for our part in that. It's what can I do to make things better?
That's right.
And most often you'll find that people really just want to be heard. And so if they come to you with a criticism or something like that, just the fact that you're willing to not be defensive and to listen and to validate what it is that they're feeling usually takes care of it.
A lot of times.
So
a lot of times it does.
That's been my experience. But again, I did not do that very well in the beginning.
It's really hard. It's really hard to separate yourself from what's happening.
Well, for me, and I've talked about this, and it sort of leads into my first answer to that question. But early on, when I was doing this, I felt a strong urge to always have the right answer at the right time and to be very, very successful in what I was doing, because that was what I thought the whole ball game was. And so anything that came across my path that gave me the sense that maybe I didn't know, or I didn't have it all together, or I maybe didn't have all the answers, then that was like I said, it became a personal thing. And then that was me working out my crap in front of somebody else, trying to be defensive to get them back on my side of the issue. But there's not a my side, your side. It's a where are we at? Let's meet here together where this thing connects. Most of the time.
That's right.
Most of the time. There are exceptions to everything, but that's what I find. So I alluded to this. I'll tell you what mine is. My first answer to your question was, I said this a few weeks ago in a message that I preached. I don't know when this is going to drop, but I told a story in the lead up to this message that I preached about how early on in the days of my ministry, I really got the idea that I was just supposed to be effective and successful. And I, of course, defined effective and successful as the numbers are good, everything's up and to the right, the church is growing, lives are changing, things are just, man, they're just more money's coming in, or the numbers, that we looked at the numbers, and as long as that was fine, I was fine.
Right.
And it was a ministry paradigm where it was like, well, Jesus wants me to get out there and fix and grow his church. And that was where I made my first mistake. That wasn't my job. My job is not, and then I've used this quote many times from Pastor Mike Erie. He said, our job is not to be successful. Our job is to be faithful. And these days, I'm shifting that in my own heart and spirit better, I think. I don't tie my self-worth to the success or failure of any specific a task or initiative that we put out around here, or any sermon that I preach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for you, I know, Joel, you've done work in the music ministry area. You know, sometimes you get up and, you know, you suck.
Yeah, so that's not good.
You know, you look at the results of what you're doing and you think, well, I failed. And you know, that doesn't mean we don't evaluate. We don't want to get better. That's not what I mean. So don't hear me say that. Doing reviews and being focused on improving and growing is a good thing, but not at the expense of your own soul. And what I said in that message a few weeks ago was, when you tie your self-worth to the success or failure of the things that you do or don't do, your soul will get crushed.
That's right.
And I experienced that a lot, especially through my 20s and even into my 30s. And it got to the point where it was just really heavy. And I felt more often than not, I was spending time thinking of myself as a failure, not in a healthy sense of, I did some things that didn't work and so I need to grow.
Right.
It was more of, it was a shame-based message.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, shame is I am wrong, not I did wrong.
Right.
I did wrong is a message that leads you to
I can do better.
Do better.
I can do different.
Or try something else.
Yeah, I can do something else.
It's detached from your own self-worth. But the shame message gets all junked up in your own self. And so it's not that I did wrong or I learned something here. It's I'm a failure and I'm no good, or I'm not cut out for this, and God needs to find somebody else. And you live in that space long enough, and you'll quit.
Well, and for me, the shame in me, when it's shame,
Mm-hmm.
I wind up defending what I did wrong instead of looking at it because I already feel bad about myself, or I jump on with somebody else and I get angry at them for something it doesn't come out. Shame never comes out in me in a good way that's healthy for me or for anybody I'm with.
Exactly.
It destroys everything around me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I certainly have been in the same place at times.
Mm-hmm.
I think the third one that I would say, and maybe this is sort of similar, I have learned through and this has always been true. Maybe Jason and I are both going to talk about our weaknesses. For a lot of my time, I tried to do everything myself. I tried to control lots of things, and that does have a lot to do with my own wiring and my own failures of just trying to control absolutely everything. And I've learned that, the body of Christ, particularly ministry is all about people.
Yep.
It's not necessarily even about what I'm trying to accomplish in the world or in the church or any of that. It is the people that I get to do it with, and often inviting them to do it with me, even if they can't do it as well as I think I could do it. It is about growing them, helping them. It's about them helping me. It's about them ministering to me, me ministering to them. I often got goofed up in ministry of thinking there was a thing called ministry that had to take place, and people sometimes were a problem to it taking place. Mm-hmm. But there is nothing about being a minister that is not people related. It is all about the people that God allows you to be with. It's about figuring out, where's my spot? Where's God at work in this situation? And what I've learned as I transitioned that and that's still a part of my transition, continues to be. Mm-hmm. I mean, the initial part of that happened a long time ago when I realized, this is either going to break me if I continue to try to do everything. And I finally brought in one person who's now been on staff forever, said to me, how could I help? And I said, man, I just need somebody that I can trust to do a few things. Well, the truth is I had lots of people I could trust to do a few things, but I could see he was qualified, and it began to get better at that point. But through the years, I've just learned there is no thing called ministry out there that are just church things that have to happen. There are services that have to do, there are messages to preach, songs to do, counseling sessions to have, whatever there are, that these things that happen, but it's the people involved inevitably. And so I have to constantly be saying, God's at work here. What's he trying to accomplish, and where can I join into what he's doing in this person's life? And what I have found along the way, that as I do that, God has often not only brought a person in my life that I thought I was helping, they wind up helping me in ways that I didn't, not just to get a thing done, but wind up helping me.
Yeah.
It's all people.
You remind me of something just right there as you were talking about it. I think if I were to tell you something, Joel, I would say, find you somebody in your life that is unattached from all the stuff that you're doing, and is not has no vested interest in lying to you. You need somebody that can tell you the truth about you. And if you don't have that person, that you need them. That's all
you
I can
do.
say.
You definitely
just need that person. They're so valuable to you. Somebody that'll sit across the table at breakfast and say to you, dude, you ain't right.
Yeah.
Or that's unhealthy. Or have you thought about it this way? And does it out of love and concern for you as a person, not for what you're doing in ministry.
Yeah.
That's so important. Ed talked about bringing people in, and being people focused. That's one person that is important. He was talking more about
those are both, I agree.
But those are both two.
They sure are.
Ends of the coin.
Yeah. So. Having those people in your life is just vital. You can't hardly do it without it. When I was young, like where you are, Joel, I always had people around me that were older, And I just think it was God's blessing
Mm-hmm.
that were not a part of the church I was serving, but they knew ministry. I just was lucky to be around a bunch of older ministers who, over time, just were willing to talk to me, help me. I remember the first person I ever hired on staff, and I said to the guy, I've never had anybody else I was responsible for. And he goes, you know, I can see you have leadership. You'll figure it out. And I said, well, I need you to help me figure it out. You know, just having anybody that you can talk to about the next little thing that like that's a really important point.
Yeah. I was thinking another thing for me, that something I did not anticipate that, and I don't necessarily have an answer for this. I guess this is more of a, just be aware of it. The amount of people that, once you do ministry for decades, okay, this is my observation, in decades of doing this, the amount of people that have come and have gone in my life, that has really been painful over time. You know, because like Ed said, all that you're doing within the church setting is relational and it's people oriented. And so a lot of times people will come into the church and you will get very close to those people and you'll grow to love some of them as much or more than your own blood family.
That's for sure.
And then something happens. It could be just a life change, something, you know, a job change, somebody gets taken away from this area, or it could be a difference of opinion on some non-essential matters in theology or in church world. And they will decide, you know, this church is not the place for me anymore. And they will move on. And then you're still there. And that's been a hard thing for me to wrestle through. My wife and I both have talked about this many, many times, the amount of, and there's sometimes you're able to hang on to those relationships, but a lot of times you can't.
Well, the ones I've been able to hang on to, they certainly aren't the same. I don't think I have any of those relationships. Even, you know, I've been blessed in 40-something years of ministry that really I've served in 2 churches long term, a third church that I helped start, and but was only there 3-4 years. They're not the same.
No,
I don't have any of those relationships, but God's always been good that there have been other people that come in.
That's right.
That I guess the part that I didn't know when I started, that's a really good one to talk about, Jason, is, and it is the people thing. It's all about people, is don't get jaded. I can remember being told by people when I was first starting out, you can't have any friends in ministry.
Yeah.
And by them in the church you serve. And I personally can't imagine having done what, I mean, Jason and I have been serving together now for almost 30 years.
Yep.
And we both have had friends in the same situation we've watched happen to each other. And I can't imagine not having invested in those people and what they invested in me too. They gave to me as well. But I can't imagine just deciding when I got a little hurt by that to decide I'm never going to invest like that again.
Yeah.
If you can't move past it, you really are doing a disservice to yourself and to everybody else. You'd be better off at that point to decide, hey, I'm going to go find a place where I can invest fully with people.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's what the Lord wants us to do. All about following Jesus is I'm going to love God and I'm going to love people.
Yep.
And the way I love people is a demonstration of how much my love for God is growing. And, you know, God is constantly facing people that walk away from him.
Yeah. And the last thing I would say, and this, we don't have to talk a whole lot on this one, but ministry is a privilege. And you don't have any right to it. And I say that to say you must guard your heart and your life at all times to be sure that your heart is pure and your motives stay clean and that your life stays pure and clean as well, because if you choose not to tend to that part of the garden of yourself and your life, and you allow sin to creep in, or any kind of impure motives, or any of that stuff, then you have lost the privilege to do ministry any longer. I'm not saying, Joel, you're going there, but I've seen it so many times.
That's right.
And I've seen a lot of, and mostly in the celebrity world of pastors because they're the ones that people get to see more often. But you look at that and you go, well, that's somebody who just thought they were owed something, or that they could live any way they chose, or treat people any way they wanted to, and they were somehow owed that position in that church. You are not owed a thing. This is a privilege that God grants you. You are held to a higher standard, and you must take that very seriously.
That's right.
Because it could go like that on you if you're not careful. It doesn't mean we work or minister from a place of fear.
No.
But it is that healthy fear of the Lord.
That's right.
And what He has blessed us with that keeps us in that place where we stay humble. And that's a task you have to tend to your whole life. Because if it gets away from you, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's right.
You will reap what you sow on that.
Well, and not only in just ministry, your whole life.
Your whole life.
Your whole life will be in trouble.
Yes.
So,
any other thoughts on that?
I have all kinds of thoughts.
I know,
we already
me
talked
too.
30 minutes, and maybe we should just have a phone conversation with Joel.
Well, he can call anytime.
He can. He knows the number.
You got our cell phone.
You do have our cell. That's right.
So you talk to us directly. So yeah, reach out anytime. For those of you who maybe that brings up a question for you, or you've thought about something while listening, watching our podcast, link is in the description where you can reach out, send us a question. We're always happy to answer it. I don't know if Nathan's back from his meeting, so we may have Nathan on the next episode, because we're about to do it right now.
Yeah, we're going to cut here in a minute and see.
But we'll see. We're going to go see if Nathan's here.
So for all of you who are watching now, get ready for next week and find out, were there 2 peas in a pod or 3?
You never know. So
I might have pushed Jason out. I'm going to sit in the middle of this set.
We can do one pea.
Chair.
You just talk the whole time.
That's right.
Man. So come back next week. You'll find out how many peas are in the pod, and we'll see. Y'all take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.